Okay.
Y'all sound like some old man.
Because we are. What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to NWAP Cast, Negroes with a Podcast, Season 4, Episode 1. Back from the break. You know how we do.
I knew that crowd noise was coming.
Of course, it's like the signature, yo. It's like my ad lib. It's like, you know how Jeezy used to be like, yeah. The crowd noise is just like, it's like my ad lib. I don't even know where I got that shit from. But I'm your host, Smooth Order.
Tunein, Talk 7.
Lextopia here.
Negroid Android.
And yeah, welcome back. Well, I guess welcome back to us. Been on a long layoff, you know. Niggas was on break, on vacation, doing our thug thizzle, getting hands in the sand and shit. But what y'all been doing since we've been on break, yo? What's going on? Let's play some catch up.
Come here, baby.
I started my new job.
Oh, congrats. Oh, niggas got jobs, nigga.
Did you start the new job in season 3?
Now I was going to.
No, he was about to.
Yeah, because I started this job like towards the end of August, middle of August, something like that. So
And you love it?
it's okay. Like no job is perfect. I mean, no job is perfect. So
It's okay.
one thing I miss is like this is the first time I've had a job where like I've had to be at my job at a certain time. Like I'm used to just coming and going as I please.
Wow, Negroes.
No, because like, you know, in research, you know, you come and go. And like, if let's say in the middle of the day, I can just be like, all right, I got to run some errands. I'll be back. I can't do that here. And I can't eat as much either. So.
But what are you teaching or what exactly are you doing?
It's like a alternative college prep, middle school and high school.
Are the kids nice to you?
Yeah, they're nice to me.
They respect you? Or they try to prank you?
No. Like, they're kids. So, and it's like in a more predominantly Black and brown part of the city. So I'm also grateful for that. I get to see more Black people and brown people.
Oh, that's nice.
Lex, what you been up to? We seen you was motherfucking gallivanting in the fucking not the Turks and Caicos. You was in Croatia or some shit. You was on niggas' yacht, like doing the big pimping, like pouring the fucking champagne on them and shit.
I was game dashing in Croatia. I went to Yacht Week with my friends, so we were on a yacht going around the country and drinking basically and partying. And then I went to Dubrovnik where they film Game of Thrones. So I was in King's Landing for a little while being a geek and like doing the tour for that. That shit was live. Like that was top 2 moment of my life probably.
So wait, they got like the whole city and shit set up and everything, or like?
Well, so they showed us like what they were using for King's Landing, and on the tour it was dope because the lady had pictures of the scenes and she was like, yeah, see, this is where we're looking at right now, this archway, this is where he got slapped, this is where he died, we're standing in a pool of blood, this is what they CGI'd. So it was really cool because we were like actually out there. So that was a lot of fun. And then I went to Prague for a day and ran around there too before I got back. So that's pretty much all I did really was vacation for a couple weeks and back to reality now.
Damn, you made that shit sound depressing as fuck.
I mean, I haven't really started working yet and it's tough, but I'm gonna get back on it.
Oh, so this was like a real vacation. Like you just went 2 weeks and you was just like, I'm finna just go live. Like
I mean, I tried to act like I was gonna do something, but nah, I didn't. So.
All right. Des, what you been up to, man?
So I got a new dog. Her name is Kima Keisha Pam. Say hi.
Who?
You need the dog. What?
Kima
Keisha Pam.
You named the dog from Total. You need the dog. All 3 names from Total.
Yep. And she's awesome. And so I've been spending a lot of time with her. And you know, doing some
Wait,
new
where
work.
are those names from?
From Total. Remember the singing group?
You don't know this?
Oh, Total. Okay.
No,
I was about to
got
say,
you. I was like, what's Toto? But got you.
Total. Yeah,
Dorothy.
Right. I was just like, what?
No place like home face ass.
Shut up.
Nah, I've been doing that. Started some new projects. I got some news coming up soon. I'm about to officially launch my business. About to be taking off. Like I've been putting a lot of money into it, put a lot of work into it. Lex has been a big help. So she's always been like giving me guidance and offering me support. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. Focusing on work, and I got a new dog. And yeah,
got a whole bunch of new things in your life.
Yeah. Getting to know her. Yeah, getting to know her. She's a shelter dog. She came from that same shelter. If y'all saw that tweet, there was a dog that got his arms chopped off by his owner with a sword. She came from that same shelter. And they got him some prosthetics.
Damn.
I don't even know what to say.
But your dog only has like 3 legs or something?
No, my dog is fine. But that's
I was just asking.
Not the dog that he adopted.
My dog is fine.
He said, my dog is all there. Okay. Just wondering.
That's what's up. I'm glad all you guys have been doing such exciting things because I haven't done shit. I ain't doing shit. I'm working at the TV station, local TV station for my internship this semester. So basically been going to work and going to school. And then we really just started going back to school because Hurricane Irma came through and shut down the entire city. And none of you motherfuckers checked on me to make sure I was okay. And
That was terrible.
I already knew you were okay.
I didn't.
No, it doesn't matter if you knew that I was okay.
My cousin lives in Tampa. I knew you were okay.
Niggas supposed to text me at least. Like
honestly, I didn't know you were okay, and I was like, I thought about it, but I never even really. I ain't check on you.
I know. Fuck nigga.
There's a hurricane?
Sorry.
Yeah, you like fuck niggas squared Tunein, because I always be trying to check on you to make sure you good. You couldn't even send a nigga a flyer text and be like, hey nigga, I heard there was a storm coming. You gonna live? Like nothing. Nobody said nothing until I said something. All you niggas wanted to fake care. Some fucking bullshit. I see how y'all treat a nigga. It's awful.
My bad.
Very, very.
We love you.
Very, very awful. Whatever, niggas. Fuck y'all. Anyway, I just really been working at a TV station, like trying to do like the whole networking thing, which is always weird because I don't really know like what to say to people and shit. And it's like, how do I come up to people and be like, nigga, I need something from you and I don't have anything to offer? Like that's what networking has always felt like to me. So I'm working through that little weird thing or whatever. But as far as like being able to do stuff, like I'm getting to do a lot of really cool stuff at the job. I had like a national news story go up like last week, which is like kind of awesome. It was about like a recall of chocolate bars, but that's besides the point. It's like my name is on the national site and shit. It's pretty much fucking it, man. It's fucking school and work. So
is it easy to maintain all that?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm really, really good at like doing what needs to be done, even if I don't want to do it. So like, I'm basically just used to like juggling everything and like not really feeling, I won't say not really feeling the effects of it, but like this is old hat by now.
You
like
do what you got to do.
Yeah, basically, I've been working like 2 and 3 jobs and juggling like multiple situations for like a number of years now. So unfortunately, this is like my life. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to slice it, that's my life. So like, I feel weird if I'm only doing one thing. Like if I was only going to work, I'd probably be bored out of my mind.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah, that's just kind of trash when I think about it, but you know, whatever. I know that we've been gone for a while. People been hitting us up on, Twitter, trying to figure out where we was at, where we was going. Some of y'all knew that we was on vacation, which means you listened to the show. So thank you. Everybody else was just kind of like, where the fuck did y'all niggas go? So hopefully y'all listened to the episodes on the in-between weeks and y'all figured out that niggas was on vacation. So here's what we've done since we've been on vacation. We're working on a new site. We got the YouTube page up, which is, Lex, what's the YouTube page?
NWAP cast. You should find it there. Or if you just type NWAP, it should come up too. Right.
So that's the YouTube, that's the Twitter, that's the Instagram page. As you can also, we're working on the Instagram thing, trying to do a lot more video stuff. By the time you see this episode, which should be on the YouTube page, you should see all of our new NWAP shirts. Rep the shirts. Get the shirts in there. Hold on.
I had no bra on, so like I'm kind of shaking.
Okay, well, don't shake your titties. I ain't asking you to do all that.
Like turn into Biggie Small shit.
Niggas out here with the NWAP.
Grab your titties if you love. Nah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Subscribe to the channel though. Thanks.
Right. Lex will be on there grabbing her titties if you love hip hop. That's Lex's job. So
or titties for that matter.
I mean, whatever. Follow the, maybe we need to make that an NWAP event hashtag Rub your titties if you love hip hop. I don't know.
Rub your titties if you love NWAP.
Right? Hey, but that doesn't rhyme though.
It doesn't
Kinda
matter.
does. Yeah, well,
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
And of course, you can hit us up on nwapcast@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? We've been trying to get these episodes together, trying to get more guest people. That is not what I was trying to say. We're trying to get more guests to come on to the show to bring out more content. We wanted to bring out more original content. So we definitely been hitting the lab and developing ideas. And hopefully season 4 will be some of the best shit that we've ever done. If not, then you've got like another 125 episodes to kind of figure out which episodes you like. So either way, you're going to be covered. You're going to be covered. So now that we've got all of the housekeeping and all the shit out of the way, let's get into this motherfucking episode. So you may or may not know that the NFL season has already started. Depends on whether you're boycotting the season or not. Over the last few weeks, people have been linking arms and taking knees, and Donald Trump been talking some wild, crazy shit about CTE and talking about getting son of a bitches off the field. And it's been a pretty wild NFL season so far. So today's episode is dedicated to the NFL. We wanted to talk all things NFL and the NWAP way, of course, because we're not just going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about, the shit that really matters. So just to kick the conversation off, it's quite open question for everybody. Did you grow up watching the NFL, and what was or is your favorite NFL team? We'll start with Tunein.
Yeah, I grew up watching NFL. My earliest memory was when the last time the Washington football team won the Super Bowl, and we had like a school parade. And also in high school, my high school is right down the street from FedEx Field. So when FedEx Field was built, when I was in high school, they did like a bunch of neighborhood improvement things, which I thought, because Landover / Capitol Heights / Suitland area in Maryland is typically really, really, really black. And so the government didn't really take too much time to care for the streets and the sidewalks. So when FedEx Field came, they kind of put a lot of money up to fix a lot of the surrounding neighborhoods. But I rooted for not the Washington football team. I rooted for the 49ers growing up because Jay Rice was my favorite football player.
I was about to ask, you said your earliest memory of the Washington football team was them winning the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in elementary school.
That's like 1983, right?
But yeah, he's 40-something. Leave Tunein alone.
That wasn't 83.
You sure it was 83? I feel like it was 83.
83. That's like 80, it's like 87.
Dog, you're like the oldest nigga ever.
Super old.
I was like in the first grade.
You was watching football when they still had the leather helmets and shit.
Fuck y'all. How about that?
Dog, this nigga Tunein was a legal age drinker drinking when the Washington football team won the Super Bowl. Nigga's like 175 years old.
I still have my yearbook from the first grade.
Oh,
I didn't know they had a printing press.
You
guys. That shit was in black and white.
I was thinking Tunein's like 218 years old.
Hilarious.
He came another 100 years. Oh God.
Tunein's the oldest nigga on earth, nigga.
It's okay. It's cool. My birthday's actually next week too. Like 6 days, 5 days.
Nah, it's in the past, buddy.
Yeah. By the time the episode airs, you will be old again.
And you'll be forgotten and old.
It's cool.
Lex, favorite football team, and who did you watch growing up?
I didn't grow up in a household where they really was that into sports, so we didn't really watch that much football. But my favorite team growing up was the Denver Broncos, mostly because we had Blitz, the PlayStation game. And at the time, the Cowboys and the Broncos were like the top teams in the game. And so my brothers always chose the Cowboys, so I ended up always choosing the Broncos. So I like Champ Bailey and the Broncos growing up until like college time. That's when I kind of changed and like formed different opinions about football teams.
Okay. Champ Bailey, that's throwback like shit. He played for the Washington football team too.
Mm-hmm. Relax. You're not gonna throw me in that same category as Tunein.
Whatever. You're like
Dead?
2 years younger than me.
You don't gotta throw that in there. Like we're not the same.
You like the second oldest nigga on the podcast.
Isn't that you?
No, I think I'm the youngest one on the podcast, actually.
Oh shit. Are we all old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Niggas is mad old, B. Des, were you a Dolphins fan?
Yeah, home team
Of
niggas.
Of course.
I will say, right, my pops played for Ole Miss, and that's where he met my mother. And so I couldn't really ever get behind Ole Miss because even when I was young, you knew like they were the rebels. And you're like, it's kind of fucked up. But like you know that at an early age. But yeah, man, I used to love football. I was a Dolphins fan. I remember like all of old head Dolphins. Urban Fryer, who's a pastor now. And I went to his church a couple times. Like, I guess that's the hustle. You go to Jesus after football. I don't know. But yeah, Dolphins fan.
Spend all that time preaching in the locker room. I was gonna preach for I was gonna say preach for money, but
technically.
Best way to phrase that.
Damn, preach for money. Yeah. Dolphins fan. My pops was a Browns fan. My mom was kind of a Cowboys fan because Mississippi, like all they really had was you had to choose between the Saints or the Cowboys, and the Saints, sorry, historically. So he was like kind of rooting for the Cowboys. Also, back when the Cowboys won all the Super Bowls, all them niggas was Lauderdale boys, or Lauderdale boys are Florida boys, like Michael Irvin from Lauderdale, Emmitt Smith from UF, like they Florida boys. So you know, I fuck with them.
That's what's up. I don't know that I had a favorite team growing up. I didn't really watch a lot of football. I didn't really watch
for the Dolphins.
Come on, son. For real. Wow.
Nigga, you from Florida.
What does that mean?
Bitch, everybody. All right, whatever. All right, whatever, man.
When I was growing up, there was at least 2 teams in Florida. I could have voted. I could have been a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I don't know why.
The Yuccaneers at that time, they were the Yuccaneers. They had that vomit orange.
And then they had Jacksonville Jaguars at like 99, dog. Like Jimmy Smith was the truth.
He was.
But no, I didn't really watch. I played football in the street, of course. Touch on the street, tackle in the grass.
Yep.
Of course.
Touching the road.
Played murder ball, which is kill a man with the ball. For those who don't know that, I played Madden or Joe Montana Sports Talk football.
04 Madden with Michael Vick, unstoppable.
Yeah, I was like a damn near. I was in college when that shit came out.
Nah, that shit was that Michael Vick character. There's never been a character that powerful in Madden. I mean,
other than Randy Moss and Bo Jackson, it's pretty much like.
Actually, that's true. Yeah, fair. Check my ball.
But yeah, like I didn't watch sports at all when I was younger, actually, because I was actually always outside playing sports, so I didn't watch sports. When I got to college, is actually when I started changing, kind of like, and I only changed because like that's what niggas did. Like niggas just watched the football game. Like I remember when the Carolina Panthers played, was it the Patriots that they played in the Super Bowl? I don't remember who it was.
Oh yeah, Mark Brunell. That year that the titty popped out.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but
I think that was Carolina and New England.
That sounds right. So yeah, like niggas was watching, or maybe it was an NFC Championship game. I don't know. That's like the Eagles and I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I was watching. Either way, like niggas was like really into the game, and like I was really into the food. Like, and it's like 2003, 2004. Like I wasn't like trying to tell like I wasn't a super big sports fan at all. Eventually, when I was in college, I adopted the Philadelphia Eagles as my football team, and for a while, like. That was who I watched and that was who I cheered for. And then they signed Chip Kelly and it kind of all went downhill from there. I kind of stopped watching the NFL. I just didn't really care anymore. Actually ended up being like a really big college football fan. Unfortunately, Florida State is not very good right now, but whatever.
Did you guys go to a lot of games?
No. I've actually never been to a professional football game. I've been to a preseason game.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been to a preseason Dolphins game. I've been to a preseason Dolphins game, but I've never actually been to like a regular season NFL football game before. And now that I live in Central Florida, I was actually thinking about at least going to see the Bucks one time. Shout out to Jameis. I was actually thinking about going to see the Bucks one time, but I really just don't have any sort of like foundation with football like that in terms of watching it. And nobody in my house watched it because we're all Jamaican, so they all watch soccer if they watched anything. Yes, Des.
No, I wanted to say, I used to sneak into Joe Robbie. I had a cousin who used to be a vendor. When they used to have the independent vendors, and you could bring the stuff, like you could bring your stuff, like you had to, like you bring your stuff to the stadium. Nigga, we used to go in there, put on a little, be like, yo, he like, all right, man, I gotta go to work. I'll be like, hey, get one of them extra shifts. I'll work like the first half, bring him all the money, and then nigga, I'm just going up to the top deck of Joe Robbie and just sitting down and watching games. He just shit all the time. Or they had it back when Joe Robbie was cheap, nigga. You jump that gate, as long as you could run away from security, you
Oh
straight.
my gosh!
I told remember
You
I
couldn't
told
tell like
I told y'all last season
like,
that Dez was
clear.
Listen, I told y'all last season that Dez was like a troubled youth, and he was really like two steps away from like being either a really brilliant person, which he is right
y'all
now.
niggas, they never snuck in nowhere.
Right.
No, I used to go to a lot of Packers games.
I used to sneak into the movies, but I mean,
That's still it, nigga. You doing the same thing.
I didn't say I wasn't a troubled youth. I say you are a troubled youth. We're talking about me. We're talking about you. This isn't about me. This isn't about me. So yeah. So now that we're talking about, like our viewing habits and who we were watching, how was your boycott of the NFL going so far? Tune Day.
Currently, my TV is on Game 1 of the WNBA Finals. So therefore, I'm finding it like it's not hard for me not to watch the NFL. Like,
it's gotten kind of boring over the years. Like honestly,
like the last 2 seasons, the only reason I watched was because of fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I put money down on the line, and I want to have the best team possible. So I watch games to pay attention to my players. But now that I don't like that was the last step. Like I didn't sign for fantasy football, and on Sundays now I do other things. I go run. I go to Orange Theory. I was watching volleyball earlier. Wisconsin and Michigan women's volleyball. It's pretty interesting. More interesting than watching the fucking Bills play the Jaguars. So I'm good.
That nigga mad disrespectful. Lex?
Like I had said a minute ago, it's been boring for a while. I used to actually be super fire at fantasy. That was a long time ago though, but I used to know every player, everybody's history. I used to spend the whole summer researching, and now I've had enough time where I haven't paid that much attention to where I don't even really care. Plus I don't have time. Like it doesn't make sense to support it, and I just wish I could see more people are on board with that, because I can still go on my timeline and see like what's happening because people are watching. But yeah, for me it's been super easy.
Des?
Yeah, I have not supported. The only things that I would say that I have caught was Marshawn was dancing and showing out. And now this weekend we're seeing all these protests pop up. I think that the extreme level of racism that we have seen, the refusal to talk about the actual issues, that why niggas is kneeling for the flag, like, yeah, it's been easy to not watch because they showing you they don't give a fuck. Like they're choosing white supremacy in a very veiled way over like actual decency.
And they're pushing it too. Like they're going hard.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like they're trying to hide this thing.
No. What I'm saying is they won't talk about the reason that people are kneeling. They're like, you're disrespecting the flag. You can't tell us how to protest. Talk about the issue. Talk about why they're and it's been like this flag issue has become bigger and bigger, and nobody's talking about why they're protesting, and they're avoiding it so hard.
Yeah, I actually saw somebody talking earlier about that Kaepernick that Kaepernick was going in the history books, and I said that I hope it's for the real reason that he kneeled and not because of whatever the fuck they're doing now, because this whole linking arms and showing a stand of unity and all this other bullshit, I'm like, this is definitely not why niggas was doing that. It's not why niggas are doing that at all. As I already said earlier, I don't I wasn't like super gung ho about watching NFL anyway. I played fantasy football for 1 season, and I lost. I played in 2 leagues, and I lost a championship in the final round in both leagues. So that was like the only year that I was ever going to play fantasy football because I just can't deal with that kind of heartbreak. Like, I gotta watch FSU every Saturday. Like, I don't need to have my heart broken by like 0.03 points on Sunday and Monday. Like, that's not how I want to start my fucking week. It's like you lose fantasy football and your college team loses. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to survive during the week? You know what I'm saying? What about my feelings? What about my self-care? So no, I mean, I wasn't watching the NFL anyway, and I haven't been watching the NFL for a long time. So I just don't really, I don't really give a shit. Since I brought up Kaepernick earlier, and I talked a little bit about what sort of kind of like where he's being placed at right now, and just like everybody seems to be on board, quote unquote, with the movement. How do you guys think history will look back on Kaepernick? Like, do you think that more players will be taking a knee in the future? Do you feel like enough players are taking a knee right now? Like how do you guys feel about that? Tunde?
I think that in the future, as we look back on Kaepernick, we'll see that he was a pioneer, and people would think, oh, it was really people on the other side now who are like admonishing him for taking a knee. In the future, be like, oh, it was such a brave thing, but now those same people are, talking shit about him, and then it's going to be players like the Seattle players who linked arms, which I think to me is bullshit. It's a bullshit way of protesting, to be honest, because you're protesting, but you're still trying to appease.
Are you talking about Seattle, or are you talking about what Pittsburgh said?
I'm talking about Seattle. But speaking of Pittsburgh, Russell Simmons tweeted earlier. He said, locking arms and staying in the locker room hiding is for bitches. I'm sorry, I'm so upset. What the fuck? I'm not sure if Black Lives Matter.
What?
Because he didn't agree with them going into the locker room, and he thinks he's hiding.
Because he really just wanted to avoid the situation. It wasn't really taking a stand, honestly.
Yeah. So then, even though the players went to the locker room for Pittsburgh, I think one, I forgot his name, he came out to the end of the tunnel and stood and put his hand over his heart, because I think he was actually in the military.
Yeah, he's an active reservist.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that history will look back favorably on Kaepernick, just like how history looks back favorably on a lot of civil rights activists in the 60s. But back
After
then,
they die.
Yeah, but back then, like even black people some black people back then were like, all they're doing is causing trouble. Why can't they just go along to get along? But yeah,
I think the question is, how long will it be? Because this is clearly the right side of history that Kaepernick is on. And I mean, there's literally nothing bad you can say about him besides this false narrative that this is about disrespecting a flag and the country, which it's not. It's wanting things to be better. And so looking back on it, I think he will be looked upon as somebody who is a positive force for change. And even just thinking about it today, actually earlier, wasn't it like a year ago that this first happened? I mean, think about how much has spiraled. And a lot of it has just been about revealing people and their racist ideals and revealing like all of this systematic oppression and things that are going on. So if anything, like him kind of making that sacrifice and just doing what he thought was right, it opened up so much, and there's still so much more to go. So it may be a long time in history before they really say these things, but it'll definitely be looked upon as favorable.
Des?
Yes, I think he will be looked upon as favorable, honestly, because I feel like Kaepernick won. He wanted to bring attention to it, and he has done that. He's done much more than that. I think he will have the ultimate win when he eventually gets a job, because what we see is a lot of protests, but what we don't see is any of these owners stepping up being like, you know what? I got a shit team. I could use this guy. Like, that's one reason that I definitely was not fucking with the Dolphins this year, because they went and signed Jay Cutler, a dude who said, I don't have to be in shape to play quarterback, and I don't have the desire to play football anymore. They gave that dude $10 million in 1 year to come out of retirement versus a dude who had a very high QBR the previous year through 4 interceptions and 16 touchdowns, which was Kaepernick. Like, that was a clear choice to say, we're not going to pick you. And I think the NFL, all these owners coming out, joining arms with their teams is bullshit. It's a money move. They know that they about to, the bag is about to get affected because niggas are not watching the season. And Kaepernick is the cause for that because they saw him get blackballed. I would like to not see him become a martyr because I think he was on the right side of history for sure. But I don't think he should have to pay financially for that, especially when people be talking about, oh, well, what has he done with his money? And he's shown you, he's tracked where all of his dollars have gone.
It sucks that people keep bringing up the same wrong arguments too, because you keep seeing on Twitter, all these right people, they keep saying, well, when he starts helping underprivileged youth or when he does this, or when he does that, he's been doing those things. People are choosing not to see what's really happening, and that's so disturbing to me. Like, more than any of this.
That's what they're doing with the issue as a whole.
With the issue as a whole.
Not to see why he protests.
They're choosing to make this about something else. They're choosing to not see the real facts, but then they throw that in there and ask, well, why isn't he doing this? Or why is he doing this? And it's all wrong. And a quick Google search will let you know like what's really happening and what he's doing.
Yeah, but you're only going to Google search if you care to get the facts right, which they don't, right? So like I saw,
it's just so bizarre though, you know.
I mean, these people aren't interested in getting the facts right because if you were interested in getting the facts right, all you had to do is go online and look, or listen, or pay attention, or give a fuck about like what's actually going on, right? Like I was watching this Twitter account today, and this Twitter account for this football team who will not be named was saying that they don't have a problem with protests, but they wish that it would be done in like a less divisive manner that would rally people to the cause of racial inequalities. It's like, and I was like, yeah, but you can't even tell us what that looks like. So that's how it was bullshit. Like, people don't care. It's not about whether they can get the issue right or whether they can find the facts or whatever. It's they don't want to be bothered by the protests. So I don't really know how Colin Kaepernick is going to be remembered by the majority of people. I think that people who are down with what he did will remember, but I don't know if that's the story that's going to get written when it gets written by whoever it gets written by. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you,
hopefully it's way more of us that are writing these stories though now.
Right. There is more of us writing these stories, but I mean, skin folk ain't kinfolk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a few weeks ago, Ray Lewis was on both knees for whatever reason. I don't know what the fuck that nigga was doing. He was on both knees, like locking arms with niggas.
Overcompensating.
He was the one who talked about Kaepernick.
Right. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So like people, I feel like people, like, here's my issue with what's happening. Here's my issue with what happened a few weeks ago with everybody deciding that they were going to take a kneel after Donald Trump called niggas son of a bitches and all this other bullshit. Right. My problem is that I don't remember this level of support when Cap originally started kneeling and when he originally started talking about why he was kneeling. When he was talking about like, look, I am protesting police brutality in America, and I don't think that, I feel like the system is unfair against people of color, and I feel like, you know, unarmed black men, women, and children are being shot. I'm willing to donate $100,000 a month for 10 months up to to be $1 million a year to a whole bunch of different organizations. You know, I feel like people were kind of like, I don't really know about this nigga. Like LaShawn McCoy was like, nigga, you're not good enough to do this protest, but all of a sudden he's on board with the protest, right? Ray Lewis is criticizing Colin Kaepernick, but all of a sudden he's down on both knees for whatever reason. I don't understand why this nigga's on both knees. Like, are you sucking a dick?
No. Praying.
What is this nigga's problem? Why are you on?
No, because
it's one knee, nigga, not two knees.
When the Browns did it, nobody could argue with them because they said they were praying, and so when he got down on both knees, it was to indicate prayer because he wants to stay. He got that job on TV. He ain't trying to lose that. He ain't trying to lose that bag.
Man, niggas love their Jesus. We don't need nobody to pray. Like, that's not what we need you out there for. Like, niggas is not asking you to go out there on both knees and clasp your fucking hands together and look to the sky. Like, that's not what this is about. Tunein.
So that you brought the point that I wanted to bring up about why people weren't behind Kaepernick's protests before, but all of a sudden, in one day, everyone's behind it because of Donald Trump's tweet. Before, like, when you say I want to take the side of Black Lives Matter, or I want to protest the police. Like people like LaShawn McCoy and Ray Lewis know that, oh, if I come out on the side of Kaepernick against the police, then there's white people or people who are conservative who like think the police can't do no wrong. They're gonna come in my neck, right? Mm-hmm. And now that Donald Trump came out and called, damn it, the whole NFL sons of bitches.
Not even just the NFL, like the black players in particular.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's the easy cause to get behind. So you protesting now, to me, like it doesn't hold as much weight.
It sucks too because they said now, I've seen multiple news outlets that people today or in those few weeks ago when they were kneeling are doing so because they're protesting Donald Trump. And now it's taking it again away from the main point, which is like, why does that shit keep getting clouded up? Yeah,
the original point of the protest, like Lexi said, and like
can we get one big person to be the main speaker and be like, this is what's happening? Like, why is it all over?
But plenty of people have said that. Jamel Hill said it. Bomani Jones has said it. Kaepernick said it.
They don't listen to black people. Like, it doesn't matter what black people say.
But it got to be a white guy. Is that what you're saying?
It's a lot of white people. Like, I mean, and the thing is, y'all's president is so ridiculous. Like, he's like an egotistical child in the way he, as soon as somebody says something, he hops on Twitter like, is this guy serious? Like, how can anybody support and back this? It's so childish and it's so laughable and it's so sad. It's so sad.
So speaking about Trump, right? So he's on Twitter arguing with Steph Curry about a White House invite, right? And then you have a U.S. territory that Puerto Rico doesn't have power. The whole island doesn't have power. Like, we'll have to go to war with North Korea. And he's on Twitter arguing about a White House invite. And I'm so like,
it's so embarrassing
about the NFL, but I'm so happy that LeBron called him a bum.
LeBron is the GOAT, bruh.
LeBron is like, there's no like, I hate him as much as you want on the basketball court, but like outside of basketball, like.
But that's one thing to look at, right? The solidarity that the NBA has way, way higher than the NFL. Like, it doesn't take NBA players that long to say what they mean, back each other, even though they're enemies on the court or whatever. But I also feel like they have more sense with their unions. They actually have more say with shit. Like, they're not getting fucking cut. You're not cutting LeBron James. But with the NFL, it's like these people are still in this mode and mentality where it's like they could be gone any moment type thing. And I don't think their rights, for lack of a better word, or however their union and shit is set up, they're not all in one page. So it's easy for them to stay in the shadows until it's enough people where now, okay, let me stand up for myself, which is some bitch shit and some coon shit.
So hold on. I want to say this. Like, you're right. The reason, another big thing is that the NBA players, you can see their faces. They are more humanized than NFL players. People feel more closely related. LeBron James is a very recognizable face. Niggas honestly cannot pick out who like Eddie Lacy is. There are very few people who will be able to identify a Dante Stallworth, or who just off top of their head know.
You can identify the stars though. You know Tom Brady, and you know most of these QBs and receivers. Tom Brady,
they show QBs. They don't show the other dude. They don't show the other dudes. What does AJ Green look like?
I don't know who the fuck AJ Green is.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Wait. Let Des finish, and then Tunein jump in.
I'm just saying that the NBA players, because it's a smaller league, they have a higher.
Definitely because minimum. It's smaller.
Yeah, it's smaller. They have a higher league minimum, and also college basketball is ran much more as a personal brand, while football is much more of a team brand. Like, if you look at the close ties to like the way slaves are treated, it's much closer to college football than it is to college basketball. College basketball, you could build a personal brand. We knew who Lonzo Ball was, and there was a brand that was being built before he became a professional. In the NFL, you don't have that kind of thing. In college football, you can't build that. So as you get to the NFL, there's less of a, you don't have a brand, you don't have a face, you're just a part of a team. You're an asset to a team.
Tunde?
Also, to piggyback off that, the NFL does have stars. Like, people know who Tom Brady is. People know who Odell Beckham is. Like, people know who Aaron Rodgers is. So, but the type of people that the NFL promotes as their stars are the people that don't rock the boat, who are gonna say everything, who are gonna fall in line with the corporate message. So you'll never see, Odell Beckham come out and say, I think, what Donald Trump said was bullshit, or police brutality needs to end. And if you do, as somebody who's in the more premier positions, Colin Kaepernick as a quarterback, you saw what happened to him. So that's gonna make other players, think long and hard. We're supposed to think long and hard before they come out and say anything against, anything. Like, who was it? Des Bryant. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna protest because I got family to feed.
Coon shit.
Exactly, coon shit. So,
but they have more fear, but rightfully so is what I'm saying. I don't know what it is the NBA has in place for their players, but the NFL needs that shit.
Guaranteed contracts is a big difference between the NBA and the NFL.
The NFL needs that shit.
Other than the fact that you're not going to fire LeBron James from anything, right? Like, other than that, like, small factor, you're not going to fire Steph Curry from saying anything. You're not going to fire Chris Paul from saying anything. But these are the league leaders, right? Steph Curry, arguably the best point guard in the NBA, and unarguably or inarguably, whichever word it is, the greatest shooter in NBA of all time, right? Like, you're not going to tell that nigga that you just gave a $205 million contract that because he doesn't like Donald Trump that he can't suit up for your championship team, right? You're not going to tell Chris Paul was arguably the best point guard in the NBA right now and probably one of the best point guards in the NBA of all time that
also the NBA, like the players rep, I think.
Yeah, NBA Players Union president, right? Like, you're not going to tell that guy, you can't protest against Trump because we're going to cut you. You're not going to do that, right? You're not going to tell LeBron James, the most famous. I don't know if LeBron James is the most famous person in the world, but he's got to be like at least top 7, right? Like, it's like got to be like Beyonce.
Oh, you mean just out of anybody?
Like, out of anybody, like out of any category of like most famous people in the world, like LeBron's got to be at least. And this is very
basketball is the hugest thing ever in Asia, and they have more people, zillions of people. So
right, it got to be LeBron James has got to be up there, right? Like, you're not going to tell LeBron James, who basically is like LeBron James is probably worth at least if LeBron James like protested the NBA, I'm pretty sure the NBA would lose like $1 billion at least.
Like, he got 631,000 retweets and 1.3 million likes on that tweet.
Yeah, like LeBron is the face of the NBA and has been the face of the NBA for like the last 14 years, right? Like, you're not going to tell that guy, like, I don't want you coming to work tomorrow because you don't like Donald Trump, right? And so on NFL, you're talking about a bunch of niggas that, NFL, like, get niggas out of here in like 3 years. Contracts are not fully guaranteed. Yeah. They'll cut you for anything. They'll trade you for anything. It's really a business and they really don't give a fuck about you like that. And they know that niggas is dying of CTE and they're not doing shit about it because they don't give a fuck, right? Like, you would need somebody of that sort of importance, as I just named with Chris Paul, CP3, and LeBron, to do something, right? So, Odell Beckham did something, right? Because nobody's going to cut Odell Beckham, right? Like, that's absurd, right? You need an Aaron Rodgers to say something, right? Because nobody's going to cut Aaron Rodgers, right? But my problem is if you feel like, okay, if you feel like Des Bryant, I had kids to feed, I had family to feed, the entire family tree is riding on me, so I can't protest in that manner. Like, you could just like do something else, right? Like, you don't got to come out and be like, well, I'm not going to do nothing because blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do that. Do something else.
You can always be quiet too and not say anything.
Right. You can always not say anything. Or you can you can donate to cause. Well, even if you made those, you could say maybe he does donate to causes and he just doesn't say anything because he doesn't want anybody to know. Okay, fine. But like, you don't have to be the guy that's like consistently going against like the protocol. And you also notice that like in the NBA, not in the NBA, in the NFL, like a lot of the old heads are the people that were pushing back against Kaepernick. Your Jim Brown, your Ray Lewis.
Man,
You know what
those
I'm saying?
whack ass old heads.
Like so like
Mad because they not making no money.
There's like a long history of like niggas just like not like falling in line with whatever it is that seems to be best for the community. Now you juxtapose that with the WNBA, right? Like the WNBA is widely disrespected as a league. I still think those commercials with the NBA players are a lie, but that's neither here nor there. When I talk about the WNBA, like they're like, it's just such a fantastic league, and I just watch it every. No, you don't, nigga. It's like it's fine that you don't, but I appreciate you supporting the sisters, right? Like the WNBA, like they all protested. Like they don't get paid. They don't get paid a lot of money for what they do, and they protest. I'm sure they got families to feed too. They protested, and WNBA fined them. And they kept protesting, and they kept protesting until the WNBA was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't fine you for protesting in this manner, right? So they changed the rules of the game. So like when I hear niggas talk about like how we don't really need black women to have a movement and niggas need to have a movement to themselves, like I just look at the NFL and I look at WNBA and I'm like, yeah, no.
Black women
if niggas would just have some solidarity, like they could do something. Like I'm just now seeing after Donald Trump's shit and calling them sons of bitches, like I'm just now seeing a lot of NFL players starting to say things like, you know, I'm okay getting fired for what I believe in, and like now everybody wants to get hyped, and it's like,
it's like way after Kaepernick.
Well, last year.
Well, Martellus Bennett was always with the shits, right? Him and his brother were always they're always been with the shits. But like a lot of these niggas now, like that are like kneeling and like I feel like Tunein said earlier, like it got safer to kneel. Like they already had the sacrificial lamb in Colin Kaepernick. So now it's like, okay, well, shit, well, they got that nigga out of there, and it's been a while, so like we can kneel now. So like back to the original question of how will history look back on Kaepernick, like we all basically said, like I'm not sure if they're even going to tell the story the right way, and more importantly, like what the shit is turning into now is like really, really weird. But earlier when we talked about, you know, players taking a knee and boycotting the NFL, I feel like, you know, this next topic is something that has come up a lot, right? Why did it take so long for people to boycott the NFL? When you think about Ray Lewis murdering somebody, Dante Stallworth like drunk driving and killing somebody and getting off, Aaron Hernandez murdering somebody, the rash, I mean, the fucking deluge of domestic violence beatings that are that seem to be plaguing the NFL, the rapes of Roethlisberger, Ezekiel Elliott is caught up in some sort of shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Ezekiel Elliott, but there are some Hardy that are being made there. Greg Hardy beating the shit out of his wife. That punter from the Giants who used to play for the Giants was beating the shit out of his wife, and he was still on the team. He got suspended for like 2 games. Yeah, Ray Rice like fucking KO and his well, I don't even know if she was his fiance yet. KO and his girlfriend on the elevator and dragging her limp body and shit. It's like all of this shit happened and people were kind of like, you know, it's the NFL. What are you supposed to do? These niggas got testosterone. These niggas has got CTE. Like, you don't even know what the fuck you do. And it's like all of a sudden, Colin Kaepernick comes out. He's like, I'm protesting against police brutality. And NFL teams are not giving him an opportunity to play football again. And now all of a sudden there's a boycott. So like, what do you guys make of that? I know what we make of it, but like, how do you feel? And what I mean by that is women don't matter as much as men. And especially in the black community, black women don't matter as much as black men. So black women be getting abused by NFL players for God knows how long, but all of a sudden Colin Kaepernick, a black man, can't get a job, and now all of a sudden everybody wants to fucking boycott. And we know why that is. But how does that, you know, like how do y'all sort of like wrestle with that, or how does that make y'all feel? Tunde.
When I first heard the idea that people who are boycotting now and didn't boycott before were misogynistic, I kind of had a pushback against it, because in my mind I thought, well, I've always had a problem with all the issues that you just listed. We didn't even list the amount of money that NFL teams taxpayers pay when they make billions of dollars for stadiums. We didn't even list that, but in my mind I was like, I'm not misogynistic. So, and you know, even if you go to like my Twitter account and do like a search, you'll see like throughout the years all the issues that I've had with the NFL. So it's not like I'm just saying, well, now I have a problem. But then I realized that I'm not everyone. Right. And there are dudes who like, I know dudes, but like more recently, Ezekiel Elliott situation. I mean, she changed her story a couple of times, or, you know, if the independent investigator says she got 0 games, then he didn't do anything wrong. No, the only reason he got suspended was, the only reason they overturned the suspension was because the NFL, they found the NFL was too quick to make their decision. So it's not like, oh, they reversed his suspension, so he didn't hit is that his girlfriend? He didn't hit his girlfriend. So I've seen dudes that I know who have defended a lot of bullshit in the NFL and then now have an issue with it. So now that I thought about it, it is misogynistic that now we all, as I'm speaking for men in general, in particular, men now have an issue with the NFL when they did it before. So I'm not saying it's the case with everyone, but overall, yeah, it's fucked up because it's not like it's just men who watch the sport. Women watch the sport too. And women watch the sport and they have to hear cases of domestic violence get glossed over like it's nothing. And they have to see bullshit as October, everyone wear pink as some type of support for women when it's really not. It's something cool to just the NFL latches his name onto. So yeah, I think it's misogynistic.
Alexia, excuse
Whoa,
me.
jeez.
No, that was a Jim Beam. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Sorry. That was a Jim Beam.
No S on the end of my name.
Not at all.
Whew. I think we care about boycotting now because, I mean, the short answer is the misogyny, and because it's easier for us to rally around all Black people being affected by something versus mostly just women in those other cases. And in the past, we've had conversations on this show as well before about how do you should you separate the man from his job type thing. You know, does do their morals matter for them being able to do their job or to be awarded to getting their place in Hall of Fame and whatever else? Like, we've talked about that too, and that's a big issue as well about, you know, what's the separation. But it's just really sad and interesting that something like this would be a very clear cause for separation to a lot of people and to these owners and to these teams. And I wish I could go back and kind of see, and if you guys remember, but like when Kaepernick, when he first started taking a knee and people started to ask about it, what was the first big like statement from like government or from some bigger power about that? Because I don't really see how that should have even been. Like, even he was like minding his business, but I feel like the media and everybody just hyped that up into being something that was seen as so, you know, air quote divisive, that people just wanted to kind of stay away from it just to stay away from it and not have to deal with it. But it's sad that that's what they would choose instead of all of these other issues that players had. But I guess, again, they know that no big power cares about that. There's no threat to our nation and the flag and American veterans because somebody's wife got beat up. So it's unfortunate, but at least we come together for all Black people now.
Barely.
You think so?
Barely.
I mean, more than we were, I guess.
True.
Des?
I was gonna say, to kind of address that point, Lexi, the crazy thing is the first people to talk about it were actually military people. And then Kaepernick went back and talked to those people, because initially he was sitting on the bench, and then he talked to some military people, and then he was kneeling, taking a knee as a sign of deference to show respect for military people. So he did all that you could do as far as it, you know,
and he's always very clearly explained it too.
Right. And as far as like us and how we address it as far as women, yeah, it's definitely misogynistic. I think there's also an element that people don't tend to really bring up. There's a lot of stuff, man. They don't talk about it much more because, you know, Roger Goodell has always tried to be really hard on players or whatever. But the NFL used to just cover shit up. NFL used to just take care of players and be like,
oh yeah, you just can't get away with that shit anymore.
Yeah, like there's also so much access, right? So a woman could like, okay, yo, so and so hit me. Here's bruises. It's just happened. If somebody's in the next room, you could hear what you heard what happened. Like, there's ways to prove it. You know, before we had all this technology, you could just be like, oh, so and so did this to me. You're like, okay. I mean, that's honestly the thing about Ray Rice. People read what happened, and they were like, okay. And when you read the transcripts and you read what the statements were, he got a 2-game suspension. It wasn't until the video came out that it became a much bigger deal. And I think the advent of like very usable technology and it being easily accessible and more like I can take a video, upload it somewhere, boom, I got proof. Like that has changed the way that people perceive things and the way the NFL responds to things. They can't just cover it up. Like Jim Brown used to beat women. Like Jim Brown is like one of the people that they talk about. Didn't Jim Brown like throw a woman off of a balcony?
I'm about to say, I think he pushed out of a moving car, but I'm not even
like he did some wild shit. Like Jim Brown can't really talk.
I mean, Jim Brown's definitely not the nigga that you want to be standing at the moral epicenter of anything because Jim Brown has his own.
Yeah, they're the first ones who end up hopping in place for this, and it's like, is this y'all's way of dancing for the masses so you can like get back in some spotlight and like get an opportunity back? Because
you look, they all on the wrong side of history. Jim Brown, Ray Lewis,
it's crazy.
Steve Harvey, all them niggas that went to go visit Trump at the beginning.
But what's crazy about the Jim Brown thing was, but the crazy thing about Jim Brown was he was like a really active activist. I don't even know if that even means
which is weird.
When he was playing football, like, he was an activity activist, whatever the fuck. He's an activist with an S and no T, right? He was really about that sort of activity and like protesting and using your sports platform to have issues. Like he was really about those things and he was playing football. So when he came out against Kaepernick, it was like, that's really weird that you would be like that, right? Like that's like a very, very strange thing. As far as, I mean, like, and I said earlier, like, I don't really consider myself boycotting the NFL because it's not something that I watch on a regular basis anyway. So I can't really say that it's like I'm taking part in a boycott, but like, I didn't make a conscious decision to watch the NFL, but when these things were happening, like boycotting the NFL was like the farthest thing from my mind. And I'm not saying this because women were being abused and that it didn't matter, because like I said, like I don't watch the NFL on a regular basis anyway. I play video games. I don't watch the shit personally. But like I remember when the Ray Rice thing came out and they were first talking about it, like I was kind of like, people like the way that I used to think about domestic violence. I was like, well, she probably just trying to get paid. She probably just wants some money. You know what I'm saying? She's just saying that the nigga hit her. Maybe she deserved it. Like a whole bunch of other shit. Like shit that you typically think that niggas who don't have any fucking sense would say. I used to be like that. When Chris Brown had first beat Rihanna, and I used to be like, what the fuck is wrong with these niggas? Like, what did she do to deserve it? Like, I mean, just very, very non-evolved ways of thinking. And, I can talk about these things now.
That's conditioning, though, too.
Right, yeah. So I can talk about those things now because that's not how I think anymore, And then what's wild is when I saw the Ray Rice video, I was like, damn, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I actually had a chance to read what happened with Rihanna and Chris Brown. I read it earlier this year, like the actual police report. I was fucking horrified. I was like, yo, he was trying to kill her. Like he was actually trying to kill her. Right. So now, not now, like right today now, but like late, like as I've talked to women, as I've learned more, sort of like pinpointed like why I felt the way I felt about domestic violence and how, I've been actively trying to change that so that my views and my actions and my attitude is more aligned with like civilized humans and shit. I try not to support anything that I think has like violence toward women. So even if Kaepernick hadn't taken a knee, and even if this wasn't like a boycott the NFL until Kaepernick gets a job sort of situation, I probably would stop watching it anyway, right? Like I used to be like a real big Floyd Mayweather fan. And not necessarily because of his boxing, because I only watch Floyd. I only watch like the big pay-per-view fights or whatever like that, because I thought that he had a good business mind. Like that whole money Mayweather entertainment shit, Money Man, whatever the fuck,
the money team.
Yes, thank you. I was like TMT, but that's like some other bullshit. The whole money team thing, and like just the way that he does his business and how he's like basically like transcended boxing in terms of how he ran his business. I had a lot of respect for that. But then I was like, yo, this nigga just beats up women, like for the fuck of it. Like it's a thing. I was like, yeah,
really
I can't.
Has a problem.
Yeah, I can't support that anymore. You know what I'm saying? I didn't support R. Kelly to begin with, and then when I found out he was peeing on chicks, I was just like fucking like underage women, like that was his thing. I was like, yeah, I can't support that either. So I've taken like a much harder line stance on people who, especially black men, who objectify, hurt, degrade, and kill black women. Like that's like we always talk about like famous people on like like every famous person does some real fucked up shit, and it's just like where do you draw the line? I feel like personally for me, where I draw the line is when you start like beating the shit out of black women. Like that's kind of where what I'm saying. So it's like that's where my line is at. Like if you kill the nigga, okay. I mean sometimes niggas. Yeah, shit happens. Sometimes niggas deserve to die. You got a drug problem. I mean, I don't do drugs, so it's not my fucking problem. Like you fucking up your family, that's your business. Is the music fire? You know what I mean? But like it's like I beat women. It's like,
yeah, that's it.
It's probably not where I want to be at. Lex.
Another thing I keep seeing as well being mentioned is this whole quote ungrateful millionaires conversation.
That's just racism.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting how many people end up saying and coming to that rhetoric, not realizing they feel like they're not saying like, oh, you deserve this or any of that. They're just like, we gave this to you, shut up, do your job type thing. And I keep seeing it like ungrateful. And these millionaires, they're so rich? Why are they doing this? They're so rich. Why is this an issue? And it's like, how small-minded, narrow-minded you have to be to not understand that this is about.
That's a choice.
Yeah. Des?
I feel like that's a choice. I think that when you see these people, I forget the brother's name, but just this past draft, there was the dude who brought his grandma's picture up to the podium. Did y'all hear that? I told the story before about the camp. The dude went to go visit, like during his like college years, like he went to go visit different schools as he was being recruited. He overslept on one of the practices, and the coach was like, hey man, you're not showing dedication. He was like, hey man, this is the first time I slept on an actual bed in months. And so of course he overslept and missed the practice, the workout. And I was like, that's the situation that these young men are coming from, right? And to say that, oh, you got these millions. No, my nigga, these niggas earn millions. They were hungrier than all the other niggas it's thousands of, I'm from Florida, nigga, Dade County, Broward County, thousands of niggas playing football. In order to be better than them niggas, you gotta be hungry. You gotta want it. You gotta earn it. And you better believe ain't nobody giving these boys nothing. That's the reason y'all so quick to try to take it away.
Yeah. It's really like these white people are really just hating. Like, bitch, just because you don't make no bread, like, shut the fuck up.
So like, you make millions playing a game.
You should be okay getting killed.
I make millions running into niggas that can bench press 400 pounds and run a full flat. That's what I make millions doing. You want to put some of your bread on the line? You want to put your check on the line and run up against me?
So here's the thing about that. People who say like they're ungrateful or undeserving, like they said, even if they didn't work hard and they were just naturally just gifted, or I don't care what your background is. Like you could have been poor, like Steph Curry. You could have been rich as fuck growing up. Like you're talented, and people want to pay for that to see that talent. Like if some random white guy on Twitter says he's ungrateful and like they should be fired, whatever. No one's paying to see you. That's what you're jealous. That's what it is. You're jealous, right? And you say, well, these players get paid all these millions of dollars. Well, someone's paying them, and you don't say shit about the owners who make billions of dollars, who make enough money to pay these players. So I don't hear you complaining about them. So, and it's because one, they're all white men, so you expect them to have a lot of money. So, but when you see these young black athletes, you don't expect them to have a lot of money, and you don't like the fact that they make more money than you.
You don't want them to have more money. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. And then at the end of the day, that's fucking racism. So, black people don't deserve to have nice things.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt like it's like the same argument they have when they talk about like college football players, where it's like, you know, you're being ungrateful, like you get to go to school on a full scholarship, and you're trying to talk about players don't deserve to get paid, and they shouldn't get paid because, you know, they're students, and if they want like playing football as an option and all this bullshit. And it's like, nigga, if every football player, every basketball player, well, maybe not baseball. Well, if every black football, every black NFL player, every black NBA player, every minority baseball player stopped playing their respective sport right now, you wouldn't have shit to watch.
That ass.
You wouldn't have shit to spend money on. You'd have to go to work on Sunday. You have to go to work on Monday night. Like, we basically are responsible for all of that shit. So they're like, well, the fans are the ones who pay the salary.
No, that's not true.
No,
that's not true.
No, you're not, nigga, because
we pay
the owners
police salary. We pay the salary of the police, not of these private.
We should absolutely
companies.
do.
Yeah,
absolutely do.
Private companies.
I mean, we might got to use these taxes to buy a new stadium, but I mean, you know, that's just the game.
Yeah,
but like, you don't. Like, I think people severely underestimate what professional sports players do and how long they've been doing it and how long they have to do it and all of the shit that comes with doing it, right? Like, your average NFL player. We're not even talking about what's your average NBA player, right? We're not even talking about somebody like LeBron James, right? Not LeBron James, not Steph Curry, not like Kevin Durant. The 12th man on the NBA roster, right, has probably been playing basketball for about as long as I've been alive. Right. Like, every single day they was playing youth basketball, teen basketball, basketball, college basketball, every single day, playing basketball every single day for like 15 fucking years, right? Niggas is going to weight training, niggas is going to camp, niggas is going to class, niggas is going to AAU tournaments, niggas is spending up all this money. Like, it's not that these niggas just woke up one day and decided they were going to be professional athletes and then that was that was a thing, right? Like, these are basic, like, people have a lot of respect for people to get PhDs in their field. They're like, oh, you've gone to school for 15 fucking years. You've dedicated your life to the craft of being a PhD and a neuroscientist or whatever the fuck, right? That's basically the same exact shit as NBA players. On the 12th man on that roster, the nigga who's making the league minimum, he's been playing basketball as long as the niggas who's been going to school to get their PhD, right? Like, it's not no like niggas is not fly-by-night athletes. Like, nigga, I just started playing basketball last year and now I'm in the NBA this year because somebody was gracious enough to give me a job.
I think that's what people think too.
Right. There's like what? There's what's it? 12-man roster, 30-team league, 400 NBA players. There's like 7 billion people in the world. 400 people are actually good enough to play in the NBA. Nigga, that's like 0.00000000000000000 like 1%. Like, that's like the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, so on and so forth. Like, that talent is worth money. You pay for that talent.
Mm-hmm.
These niggas, you didn't give these niggas anything. They earned it. And they pay for it with their bodies and their lives. And as we wrap up the podcast, we're going to talk about CTE, Aaron Hernandez, and concussions in the NFL. So one of the things that this question is also talking about is how you feel about letting your children play football. And and I'll lead off with this. I talked to my girlfriend. We are both from Florida. Florida is the best state in the entire country for football. Feel free to come fade me if you feel differently.
It's the best state for a lot of reasons.
All of your NFL draft picks, all of your college recruits, all of your.
It's not like Alabama.
No, it's not. No,
Alabama gets imports, man.
Yeah,
imports. No. Louisiana.
No.
Alabama is the Pier 1 of college football. All them niggas come from other places.
It's like Florida, Texas. It's Florida, Texas, California, Ohio, and like Pennsylvania, or like.
Louisiana has some too.
Yeah, but
they go to
like,
LSU.
Listen, they're not top 5 though. I'm talking about like just football. I'm just talking about in total, like where football players come from. In total, Louisiana ain't that high. It's California, Ohio, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Florida and like Georgia, right? But Florida's like always either number 2 or number 1. We occasionally go back and forth with like California, which is kind of cheating because California was like a really, really big state. And it's like half of the entire West Coast. That's neither here nor there. Even with all that space, you could put the best Florida players against the best California players. And the best Florida players probably whoop California's ass. Neither here
10 times out of 10.
Neither here nor there, right? So I said that to say that football is a very big thing in Florida. Football is a very big thing in the South. In Florida, we've got what? FSU, USF, FAU, UCF, UF. There's like 7 college football teams in Florida, right? Like this is big fucking business. Youth football, big fucking business, right?
Yep.
So my girl is like, we were riding in the car one day and we were talking about like CTE and like niggas dying from playing football and shit. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really sure if, I want our unborn child to play football. And she was kind of looking at me like, what do you mean? They're going to play football. And I'm like, yeah, like I feel you. Like I want our kid to play football, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like just the way that this CTE situation is fucking scary. Like I was asking people if there's a way to like lessen it with like better helmets or some shit like that. It's not possible. It's basically your brain just being rocked and swelling in your fucking head and the pressure that comes from that because your skull doesn't move, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I want them to play basketball or some shit. Like, I don't know about football. Tunde.
I don't want my future kids playing football at all. I'd be happy if they played basketball or if they ran, because that's what the main things I'm interested in. Even if they like want to play baseball or tennis or soccer. Just so going back to Aaron Hernandez, right? I think the news came out Friday morning, Thursday night about his CTE diagnosis. So I was watching something on my DVR. I say this because I don't normally watch First Take, but I was watching sports on the night before. So I clicked my DVR and then DVR deleted. The show ended. And then when the show ended, it went back to what I was watching before, which was ESPN. And they were talking about Aaron Hernandez and CTE. And Stephen A. Smith had the audacity to say that everything that Aaron Hernandez did had 0% chance to do with CTE. And one, I wondered where he got his neurology degree from because obviously he knows nothing what he's talking about. And a lot of people say, well, a lot of things he did at Florida. So you can't have CTE in college. You can't have. They said his brain looked like a CTE patient of a 60-year-old, which means
27, right? But he stopped playing football at like 24.
Yeah, which means he's had it for a while, probably in college, maybe in high school. Who knows? So, like, I'm not saying like everything that he did is completely the fault of CTE, but I would bet money that it had a strong like percentage. So I don't want my kids ever playing football. Like
it's barbaric.
It is. And then if you think about it, like, okay, a lot of kids who love football right now, they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to play in the NFL. We just had a whole fucking discussion about how much the NFL like has its own issues. So even if they do make it to the NFL, I don't want them playing that either. So yeah, no football for my kids.
Lex?
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. There's way too many other sports that they can play, and that will make them way more money anyway. So I'm with the soccer and baseball movement. You could be a little chubby, still make your bread. Like, I'm all about that baseball movement.
Des?
And I just think it's sad.
Go ahead.
But I want to say one other thing about the NFL is pretty trash for blocking all the shit around the concussions and CT and all of that. And
actively.
Yeah, very actively, right? And again, it's just that I think the power is in the players and the people who watch, because we just gotta care enough or care more about people's lives than watching this shit and putting all that money in their pockets. And there's nothing, if they even made changes to make it safe or whatever, it's just going to get more and more whack, like it already has been doing over time. And I don't think the NFL will last very much longer.
Des?
So I'm not gonna lie, like I'm a big dude and I'm the smallest nigga in my family. My pop's bigger than me, my brother bigger than me, and they probably got my muscle. And both of them niggas play football. Both of them niggas play football in college. The crazy thing about it, man, for a lot of people in Florida, like, football is an opportunity to escape your conditions. I do think that if you make people's conditions better, then yeah, people won't have to play football, honestly. I'm a flag football coach right now, and that's different. Like, I still think there's some great skills in flag, right, that prepare our young people. Like, I coach at a charter school, and then I coach in a Nike league. Both of those, like, are gearing you. They're pushing you towards, and a lot of the focus is about making kids able to see defenses and be able to read defenses. So we're trying to build quarterbacks. That's essentially what's happening. You're playing the skill positions. You're not having to deal with the line, but you're learning how to look at an offense, look at a field, and break it down into different phases and attack there. I do think that there are skills that are a part of football that are, like, good for developing strong-minded and intelligent and team-focused and just well-rounded competitive young men. That there are a lot of skills in football that you can translate into the real world, like into a business, into attacking whatever career you want to work in. But I think the risk now with what we're seeing with CTE, like, I remember my pops, like I said, played football at Ole Miss. He tore his ACL in '79. ACL surgeries were not the same, and they basically just tied that bitch back to the bone and was like, all right, man, we're gonna give you, the rest of this year to heal. And if you're good enough next year, we'll let you play. If not, you cut. Like, the other, like, CTE is horrible, but there are other things that happen. Like, Andrew Luck last year took a hit that basically, like, broke his rib and lacerated his lung. It's like, yeah, man, that's because he had a dude who was like 300 pounds. Like, if you ever go back, like, people talk bad about RG3, right? But if you look at that hit that Haloti Ngata put on RG3 leg looked like those things that be outside of car dealerships. That shit was just flopping. Like,
that's not funny. I'm sorry. I was laughing at Des impersonation.
I'm just saying, people are not meant to be, like, you're not meant to have that many hard physical impacts like that. As the human body ain't built for that. So there are other things to be, but CTE, the thing that I think is despicable about the NFL is the NFL trying to pass the buck. They're like, oh, well, he could have had it in middle school. He could have got it in high school. He could have got it in college. It's like, my nigga, he's playing against the best of the best in your league. It more than likely happened the fuck here. Yeah. Because when he was in college, when he was in middle school, when he was in high school, he was better than everyone else around him. That's how he was able to get to the NFL. So I think I don't know if the NFL is going to be done in the next 5 to 10 years, but I think as time and medical records bear out in the next 10 to 20, NFL is gonna be a different thing.
Out of here.
I don't
Yep.
know what it will be. It will be a different thing though.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer that shit's gonna last, dog. I really don't. I don't see like the NFL is actually. It doesn't really seem like they care about the CTE issue enough for niggas to like really like. I know that they got new rules and stuff like that. They got targeting calls in college, and they throw people out and they trying to get that shit together, whatever. But it doesn't really appear to me that the NFL is really trying. Excuse me. Is really trying to do anything to like fix whatever the fucking problem is, or even like they seem to have trouble even acknowledging that there is a problem. So I don't even know how that shit's gonna work.
R.I.P. NFL.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
nice.
bitch.
It was nice watching you while we could. I mean, I'm sure there'll still be like flag football for the youth, which maybe my kid can play it. If there's like flag football, I'll definitely sign up my kid for that. But if they're still
Flag
playing
football
table,
might move to the professional realms. Honestly,
shit, that'd be lit. That might be some. That might
could be kind of cool, actually.
Greatest show. Actually, might end up looking like arena football, so maybe it's not the greatest show because that shit's trash. But
yeah, arena football is still.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Any other comments?
The boycott continues.
The boycott
For
continues.
For real.
Anyway,
episode name.
I don't shit. The boycott continues. The episode name. We gonna fuck with that. All right. Thanks for joining us with this episode of shit. Like I lost the whole thing.
NWAP.
Season 4 NWAP cast. We definitely appreciate it. You know what I mean? Come through, kicking it with us. Make sure you hit us up on all the social medias. It's NWAP cast everywhere. That would be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Gmail, probably your girlfriend's address, your ex's address, your boyfriend's address, all of them niggas. NWAP cast. Holla at you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.